Is not welcome in America's legal system, and here's why. In America, the law comes from the Constitution. That is our rule book. The Constitution is what everything is based on. Sharia law, however, comes from religion. That is a totally different rule book. America says you can believe anything you want, but the laws stay separate. Sharia mixes law and belief together, and that does not match how we do things here in America. America lets you speak your mind, you can joke, you can complain, you can make memes about the government if you want. And Sharia has limits on speech, and that clashes with the American style. In the United States, men and women have the same legal rights. In Sharia, men and women can have different legal roles. That does not line up with our system either. In America, punishments go through courts, lawyers, and appeals. However, Sharia can involve physical punishments. Our Constitution would shut that down instantly. Here in America, marriage and divorce are done through civil law, and Sharia uses religious rules. Again, the systems, they don't match. This is why America has to be super careful about who we let into our country. In countries like Poland, they take this very seriously. Poland is super strict about who they let enter into their country because they want to protect their laws, as well as their culture and their way of life.
Britain is Darul Haram because they are, anathema to God's law. They're not implementing it, they're violating His sanctity, and therefore this is war against Allah and His Messenger. We are obliged as Muslims to take the authority away from the people who have it and implement the Sharia. Now I hope that can come in a very peaceful way. I hope that we can do that in a way, where there's no bloodshed. The Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, if the Muslims have authority and they have the ability to remove oppression, they must remove the oppression. So we believe man-made law is oppression, because they are implementing non-Islamic law, violating their own sanctity. So, if we are in a position of power and authority, we are obliged to take that authority, with the minimum force and to implement the Sharia, certainly. So, this will be the case one day in Britain.
What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you guys pulling up today. I have a few clips I got to share with you guys today. People need to wake up, and people need to get an understanding as to what's transpiring in our country. You got a lot of people on the left. You got a lot of Democrats, a lot of folks that are quote unquote a part of the Democratic Socialists of America who believe that this is the wave, that this is the way, not realizing or not understanding that they are useful idiots for these people. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to get into. Hey, you all got to hear this. So I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I Googled myself, and man, I found entirely too much personal info out there. My address, old jobs, even relatives just sitting online for anyone to grab. And that sent me down a rabbit hole. And I found out there are actual companies called data brokers that sell your info to marketers, scammers, even stalkers. Disgusting, right? And that's exactly why I use today's sponsor, Aura. Legally, data brokers, they need to remove your information if you ask them, but they make it extremely difficult to do so. But Aura does the hard work for you. They automatically scan those shady broker sites and removes your information. But it doesn't stop there. It also gives you identity theft alerts, fraud protection, and a built-in VPN to keep your data safe wherever you browse. So here's the deal. Hit my link down below or go to aura.com/wise for a 14-day free trial. At the very least, check if your personal information is being sold. Privacy is power in this digital age. Don't give yours away. Try Aura free, 2 weeks, see what's out there, and take control. Now let's get back into the video. Somalians in Minneapolis are demanding that Americans assimilate to them, not the other way around. That's not how this works. Not in this country, not here in the United States of America. But if we continue to allow people to come over here and not assimilate, but carry on with their own culture and their own way of life. They're not here to just go along to get along. They're actually here to take over. And the guy in this clip right here, let it be known. And there's a few others that I want to share with you guys. But check this clip out from Minneapolis. Let's get into it.
Feel more comfortable living under American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law. I'm a Muslim. I prefer Sharia law. Right. Sharia law, yes.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah.
And do you find most of your friends feel the same way?
Yeah, of course. If you're Muslim, yeah.
He can make his daughter marry somebody.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. He has the authority,
The authority to do that.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah.
So here, how young do you think it's okay?
Yeah, 15.
Is it right to kill somebody who insults Muhammad?
Yeah, because she is just, she hid the religion, I understand. But she shouldn't pick up the prophet, you know?
So you understand why people would want to attack her.
Yeah.
If you had a choice, would you rather live here or would you rather live in a Muslim country?
I'd rather live in a Muslim country with my people.
Would you prefer to live in America or prefer to live in Somalia?
For me, I think it's Somalia.
I would rather live in Somalia.
I'm not Americanized. I just speak fluent, and I'm, you know what I mean. I'm articulate, and I can articulate what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. That's about it. But other than that, I mean, as far as my culture and my preferences and everything, it's still Somali. You know what I mean.
Even though here you have all the freedom and stuff like that.
And even though I have all the freedom,
I think life might be better in Somalia than here.
because now you have the freedom of it of practicing your religion while working and doing your other things.
Why won't these people just pack up and leave? If they believe that Somalia is better, if they believe that life is better there, why not just go? And we could say that for, a plethora of people that have come over to this nation, yet they continue to ride around and they hang and they fly flags of other nations. Why do everything that you can to get over here and not assimilate? Why run away from a war-torn, just place of death and destruction to get over here and say, hey, I want to go back? Just go. We're not even stopping you. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're actually giving free plane tickets to people that want to leave, those that are willing to self-deport, and they're willing to give you some money on the way out the door. Just take it and leave. I don't understand why they're deciding to stay here, but I want you guys to hear from a former Muslim who I believe is a pastor of some sort at this point. And I want you to hear from him and his thoughts on this Sharia law situation. Listen to this.
The Americans think that Islam is a religion of peace, and they act like the victims. They act like we're just here in America to, migrate and seek refuge. But no, friend, Islam does not move to the West because they need help. There are 54 Muslim states around the world, but for some reason, they never move to the Muslim nation or state. They always move to a Christian country. Why? Number one, they are here to establish Sharia law. You don't understand. The two religions around the world that are expansive by nature are not Hinduism, it's not Judaism, it is Islam and Christianity. We are commanded to go into all the world, preach the gospel, make disciples, and baptize them. Islam is commanded to go into all the world and do two things: establish Sharia law and kill the infidel. They are here to take over the political system. Islam is not a religion, it is a political movement. And that's why I no longer call it just Islam, I call it Islamism or Islamist. It is a political movement that is here to conquer and take over. They took over Egypt, they took over Sudan, they took over Yemen, and next is America. They've taken over the UK, Australia. We are very, very close. Every time I move houses, my neighbor is a Muslim. And what's next? America. Why are they after America? Because America is the pinnacle of Christianity. If they conquer America, the West will fall. If they conquer America, that is the head of the snake, and that is their biggest enemy. That's why in the Muslim countries, what do they shout? They shout, death to America. On 9/11 in Egypt, while we were growing up, the Muslims were not saddened to hear about 9/11. They were celebrating in the streets, dancing and jumping, shouting, death to America. So Islam is not a religion of peace. They are lying to you. They're a religion of war, violence, and death.
You know what's real crazy? What's really crazy is that here in our country, we're moving further and further away from Christianity. On this channel, we've been telling people for some time, we got to get back to the word. It's the fact that we've moved away from the word of God, God's, plan, that has been written out in the Bible. We've gotten away from it, and us moving away from it as a society, I'm not talking about myself, but I'm just talking about the country and as a society in itself, has opened up the door for this situation. It has opened up the door. We need a revival in this nation like no other. And what's really unfortunate is that you got a lot of churches that aren't talking about this. You got a lot of pastors that are not speaking on this. You got a lot of quote unquote people that call themselves, followers of the way or followers of Christ or quote unquote Christians or those that practice Christianity that are not talking about this. They don't understand that there is a war brewing. It's looking like we're going back to the Crusades. That's what it's looking like. And you have a lot of people with their heads in the sand right now, not understanding what's happening. Seriously. And what's really crazy is that you have, you know, I wouldn't say 50%, but you have a large sector of people in our nation that are bending the knee and bending to the will of these people, not understanding what they're bending to. It's really crazy. It's also very, very scary. Hit that like button. Let's keep going.
Now it's getting through Congress. So before it was by the sword, now it's getting themselves into parliament and then making laws that act as the sword, the Islamophobia law in Canada, M103.
Yeah.
Muslim Brotherhood. I find that there are only two things which are open to our movements. Ballot or bullet, nothing in between.
I used to say that democracy is haram. Now I say participation in democracy is our jihad. That's our jihad. We're going to fight not through the bullets, but the ballot.
Going to the ballot and voting is now an obligatory action, fard ayn. And it is a jihad that is now needs to be done because this is our modern jihad. You can elect a person who wants the Sharia.
Because in the United States, what we do know is that in the past election, just this last election, there have been over 800 Muslim candidates running for office.
We may end up with about 50 members of Congress in the next 6 years. That's really the essence of dismantling the system of injustice, is to replace it with the people who represent the Prophet ﷺ.
They're not hiding it anymore. This isn't some covert operation anymore. It's overt. It's in your face. They're talking about it. They're letting you know their game plan. And we're seeing it play out right in our faces. I mean, these folks have literally taken positions in a multitude of legislations around the country on the state level. Obviously, you see the Ilhan Omars, you see the Rashida Tlaibs. They're out there. They're in offices on the national scale. These people are not playing. And they understood that, hey, we can't beat these guys heads up. So we're going to infiltrate and we're going to use their system against them. They're going to use the Constitution. They're doing it. They're using the ballots. They're doing it. And unfortunately, we have a party in our country called the Democrat Party that are actually assisting them in the takeover. It's really crazy. You guys got to understand that, hey, the battle is here. The Trojan horse has been rolled into the country and they've allowed these people outside of that horse. It's real. It's very real.
Also, I'm somebody that has lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years. I'm somebody that deployed to Iraq. I have actually lived in countries that have Sharia law. Sharia law has absolutely no place in this great nation. It has absolutely no place in the great state of Texas. And I will fight tooth and nail to prevent that from happening. And for those people that think that everybody that comes to this country, that they think they want to sing Kumbaya and hold our hand and they're rooting for America, I'm here to tell you that they are not. Look, I'm all about multiculturalism. I understand this is a melting pot. I get all that. But this is America. We have our own culture. We have our own constitution. We have our own set of laws. And if you aren't willing to assimilate to what American culture is, I have an idea for you. Go back to your country of origin because you don't belong here. That's the bottom line. And I'm not saying that we can't have people of different religions. I'm not saying we can't have people of different beliefs. But I will tell you that one of my good buddies is that he is Muslim. He is a fighting Texas Aggie. But this guy is as red-blooded American MAGA as possible. And he told me, Wesley, I may come from a Muslim background, but I view myself as an American first. If you're willing to adopt that attitude, well, then come on board. But if you're not willing to adopt that attitude, you are not going to infiltrate this country and infiltrate Texas and think that you are going to turn Texas law into Sharia law.
We're dealing with effectively a political movement, a political effort to Islamify Texas and the United States, to building a majority, to then implement Sharia law, and ultimately to convert people. That's the goal. And they're pretty open about it. The issue here is under our Constitution, you can believe what you want to believe. It is a fundamental part of the First Amendment. But at the end of the day, when you've got something that is undermining our rule of law, undermining our Constitution, we do not have to allow more people to come in who adhere to it, nor do we have to allow the creation of communities that are exclusionary and designed to implement Sharia law and so forth. Importantly, our Judeo-Christian heritage serves at the center of who we are as a country, and we have to remember that even as we protect the Constitution and the First Amendment, but we've got to remember to protect our culture at the same time.
There, we have to remember to protect our culture. That's what's on the line here, ladies and gentlemen. It's our culture, our way of life. What are you willing to do to defend it? That's the question that I have for you guys. I want you guys to listen and watch these last two videos. This is a young lady explaining what Sharia law is, and I want you to see another young lady who decided that she's going to go to a Muslim nation and live up under Sharia law for a bit.
I'm just going to read a few of the laws that I've read in this book of Sharia law. The Precepts of a Permanent Marriage, law number 2476. A woman who is involved in a permanent marriage cannot leave the house without the permission of her husband. She must also make herself available for every legal pleasure that he desires. She should also not stop him from engaging in intercourse with her without a legal excuse. That's just part of it. Here's the rest. If she performs these duties, it will be obligatory on her husband to provide her with food, clothing, housing, and the rest of her needs, according to what is commonly acceptable. If he does not provide these to her, regardless of whether he is able to do so or not, he will be indebted to his wife. Whatever that means, because the theme that I'm getting out of reading a couple pages of here and a couple of chapters of the Quran is that men aren't actually held accountable for these things unless they do something like apostate. Law number 2477, if a woman does not obey her husband in the duties that were mentioned in the previous article, she will have sinned. She will also have no right to claim food, clothing, housing for the rest of her needs from him. However, her mar does not get voided. A mar is like a dowry. Those are the first two laws under the Precepts of Permanent Marriages.
Are women's rights in Afghanistan that bad in 2025? I traveled here to understand more as a woman myself, and this is what I learned. Here's 5 things that are illegal for women in Afghanistan to do today. Number 1, women are not allowed to appear or speak on media, television, radios, or in journalism. Women are also banned from praying in mosques and should pray at home. Women are also not allowed to receive an education after 6th grade. Going to parks and exercising is also banned for women, limiting them from a lot of outdoor spaces. Lastly, women also have to dine in designated areas at restaurants. So to answer your question, yes, women's rights in Afghanistan in 2025 are really that bad. And the only thing worse is staying silent.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow and share so that
who are advocating for this. Even if they are, not directly advocating for it out loud, they're advocating for it with their vote. Because they're supporting people that would potentially implement this type of law. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this? Seriously, what are your thoughts? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family. Buy your brother a coffee. Link in the description box below. Join us Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.